Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. Today's video is going to be about what it's like to be an independent musician. So for those of you who may be watching my channel for the first time, my name is Bartek and I've been playing music, I've been in bands since of the age of 14 years old, so I've sort of experienced quite a lot of playing music, playing gigs, organizing a lot of things by myself, for other people sometimes, and everything that goes in between, so being an independent musician has been probably a definitely big part of my life, and it's definitely played an important part in my life, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So I think that sort of in a way that has been evolving because sort of due to technology advancements and various different things, but because I've always, at least in the past, when I was playing sort of in punk and hardcore bands, and I really experienced what it means to be part of a DIY scene, as they call it, so do it yourself, so book your own gig, do your own thing, put a band together, organize your own tour, do these different things by yourself. And that actually has taught me quite a lot, and I think it's prepared me really well for what I'm doing right now. Because to be honest, it's no different. Never mind what genre of music you may be kind of doing, especially at the beginning, unless you kind of get a contract deal with a big record company or something like that, and you have a backing from other people, then you will have to basically do a lot of things by yourself. But for those of you who may not have experienced this, and to be honest, my channel actually is dedicated not only to my music, it is dedicated to promoting my music, but it's also dedicated to giving advice, support and some ideas to other independent or maybe up-and-coming musicians who want to get out there and do it, and establish themselves in the music world. So effectively, if I start from the very beginning, I kind of just use what I had basically available to me. So sometimes I didn't have a lot of money, and I still sort of remember that I actually had to sell a computer, so I actually had some money at the time. I bought a computer on which I kind of used to play video games as they're called effectively, and then I was so obsessed with listening to music and listening to bands. I watched them, I kind of listened, I absorbed everything, and I basically wanted to be like them in effect. That became my obsession, that became my dream, my passion, and I really wanted to play guitar, and in order to have a guitar, because I didn't have the money at the time, I actually sold that computer that I had. So I sacrificed my video games effectively in order to buy a guitar, and I got that first guitar, and I still remember that, that was like a Polish make called Mayonnaise, which was a really good guitar, really good electric guitar actually. That was my first ever sort of my own instrument that I had. I had one acoustic guitar prior to that, which is given to me by my uncle Jacek, but I sort of experimented on it, but I didn't kind of use it really sort of well. But yeah, that first electric guitar was the instrument that I really kind of started kind of learning some stuff on. And very soon after that, actually, I was then sort of obsessed with I want to have a band, and I found this other guy who was going to the same school as me, and he was playing bass, and basically we put our first sort of band together with another sort of schoolmate of ours who played drums effectively. And yeah, that was kind of the first band that I ever put together. But it was always kind of, as I recall it, trying to find things that were kind of would save you money, but maybe we didn't have money actually at the time anyway, to say pay for a rehearsal room, for example. So we would go, my bass player's dad owned his business, and I think he was selling like sort of house appliances or something like that, and he had this storage space effectively, and like a bit of an office space and a storage space, and then underneath that there was a basement, right? And he effectively let us use that basement as a rehearsal room. And to be honest with you, it was a fantastic rehearsal room. I still kind of look back at it kind of, you know, with a smile on my face, really, because yeah, it was really cool. And so this was the first thing, and you know, and from the very beginnings, I remember like there was simple things that we didn't have, like even like a mic stand or that kind of thing. And you know, I used to kind of, I found this like a long sort of plank of wood, you know, and put it again, sort of, I had this like two like heavy like stones or something like that, I think, and I kind of like sort of put that sort of plank in between them so they would like hold it into place. And I just kind of like taped the mic on top of that plank, and basically that was kind of my mic stand, you know, at the time. And those were the type of things, you know, that we used to do. And then, you know, everything else, like getting gigs, you know, knowing people, networking, that was like the whole fun about doing all that, and you know, being part of that community, you know, of maybe other musicians, or even like the whole genre of music, if you like. But then, you know, something else that I've sort of learned, and I think that's the crucial part of being an independent artist or an independent musician, is that you do have to do a lot of those things by yourself. And you know, as technology progresses, because what you must know is that what I'm describing, those times, were pre-internet. All right, so actually we didn't have internet in those days, so everything was being done kind of through the word of mouth, posters, flyers, you know, very, very old school still at that time. So for example, you know, I helped or perhaps even like put a couple of gigs together back then. And the way we did it was we would kind of like make posters, put them posters up sort of around town, you know, so that people would see what was going on, you know. So that was the way. There was no internet. But obviously throughout the years things have changed. Nowadays we have plenty of opportunities out there. With the era of the internet, obviously we have social media, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, you know, there's probably some other platforms that I'm not even aware of. But yeah, with the era of social media though, I think there's almost like more and more of these things that an independent musician is now almost like required to do, so to speak, to a certain degree. You know, because in the past it was kind of, oh yeah, you released some music and you were just trying to push it to people, maybe, you know, through like maybe like on a cassette or a CD or whatever, you know, try to maybe sell, you know, some copies of whatever you've done. And then, you know, if you were lucky and maybe got a radio interview, radio spot or something like this, or maybe you would be interviewed in a fanzine, that would be basically it, you know, that would be kind of like your reach. These days, you know, you have your phone, your mobile phone, you can film yourself on your phone, you can kind of do all these different things. You can do your own sort of, like I'm doing, you know, my own YouTube channel or TikTok, Instagram account, profile. So with running all those things, it's almost like you become your own sort of like social media person, because unless you have the funds and the money to be able to afford somebody to do it for you, you have to do it all by yourself. You know, so today, you're not only just a musician, you also have to become this like social media, you know, person, yeah? We have to like have ideas, you know, come up with ideas, like this video I'm doing right now, for example. You know, what to say to people, what to make these videos about, so they are interesting, entertaining, perhaps educational. So you put a lot of sort of effort, energy into those things, you know, to share that with your audience. A lot of that is about building your fan base as well, kind of sharing your music so that more people sort of become aware of you and maybe become interested in your music through that as well. You also, as an independent musician these days, I think a lot of people do that, I've done this already sort of with this latest album that I've released, but also with some previous albums already, is you know, you produce your own records, you know, effectively, and a lot of people do that, you know. If you can establish your own sort of little home studio, even in your own home, that's really good, you know. Like I've got my studio here, and then you are able to just like produce records completely by yourself, you know. You can do that. There's obviously technology that allows other people to work alongside you, you know. If you want to partner up or collab with other people, you know, they can send you, it's very easy really, because they can send you files and stuff like that. But effectively what I'm trying to say is that being an independent artist or an independent musician these days, you kind of become a jack of all trades, because you know, you're your own media person, you are your own mixing engineer, mastering engineer, often, you know, producer of your own record. You know, you have to engineer it all in terms of sort of recording, how you run your recording sessions and things like that. You know, you kind of end up, you know, documenting your processes, filming it all, you know. So it's thinking constantly about, you know, what's the good footage going to be, you know, if I film this, if I film myself whilst recording, perhaps doing all these different things, it's going to be valuable because I can then use it for my videos and things like that. And yeah, same applies to promotional activities. So of course social media are used for promotion, but again, you know, when it comes to, you know, promoting yourself maybe outside of social media, say radio stations, anything like that, you know, again, you need to write your own press release, for example. So again, you become this person who also, you need to be a, you know, good writer, or you have some, you know, how do you do that, you know, how do you write a good press release to appeal to people so they can become interested in what you're doing and that kind of thing. You know, if you want to get into a music magazine or of any sort, you've got to kind of sort it yourself and try and find those contacts and you know, and network with people and get to those places. The same thing sort of applies to booking gigs, because, you know, if you are an independent musician and you, for example, do not have a booking agent or a manager who could maybe do these things for you, then effectively that responsibility again falls on your shoulders. So, you know, you either book your own gigs like I did very recently, or you contact the promoters. You need to find out where those gigs are, where those festivals are, who's actually working on them, who's organizing, promoting them. So you need to get in touch with those people and hopefully try and get some gigs for yourselves to you know, to become more and more established with your music. So what I'm trying to say, that it's very much not just about, and obviously all this, by the way, just wanted to mention this, all this obviously takes time, you know. So for example, if you have a day job, then obviously that's another thing, you know, that takes up a lot of your time. So you need to figure out and be really kind of well organized with your time that you have left in order to be able to do all these other activities. So it's these days definitely not just about playing music and like writing music, because again, you need to divide that time really wisely, because any time that you spend, you know, not writing music or not working on your music, you know, you could say, oh well, that's the time. It's not time wasted, because you are building your fan base and you are building your audience. But effectively, you have to be mindful that the moment that, for example, like now, I'm filming this video, I'm not working on a new song. So it's about being mindful of that, you know, and being quite rigorous and disciplined, I suppose, with your time and how you use it and how you actually split your activities, you know, between, you know, working on videos, working on social media promotion, that kind of thing, versus working on the actual music that you then want to kind of, you know, give to people and share with people. So yeah, if you've got your own experiences and your own observations, and I'm sure that you have, if you're an independent musician yourself, please leave them in the comments, and I will read them all and I will try to respond to all of them as well. And please remember to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if it's brought you value and you've liked it, and I'll see you in my next video.